Hi, YouTube. Hi, TikTok. I'm also filming on YouTube. You'll notice that I'll make my announcements later. Oh, shoot. I got to turn my alarm off. Just a sec. I had my alarm on for this, so better turn it off. Okay. Sorry about that. I had to turn my alarm off. Anyway, welcome. While we're waiting for people to turn up, I'd love to know where you're from. I'm here in Vancouver, Canada, and I'm a parenting coach. I'm not a psychic. I often get people who think I'm a psychic. I don't know why that is. I am not the least bit psychic. So I've had some weird things happen, but I'm sure everyone has. But yeah, I'm not a psychic. So while we're waiting, where are you from? I'm in Vancouver, Canada. Melinda B, that sounds familiar. Casey, Ruby Gillen. So where are you from? While we're waiting for people to turn up, I always like to hear where you're from. Okay. I actually, Louisiana. Hello. Buffalo. Just like saying that. Buffalo. Where are you from? Buffalo? Newfoundland. Hi, Newfoundland. Nancy and Bridget. Also, I'm curious, if you're new, I'd love to hear if you could just type in new if you're new here. I'm not usually here at this time. And also, I've scheduled my lives now because my schedule's all crazy lately. So I've actually scheduled my lives new. Oh, hi, Katie. Newbie. Oh, 2 newbies. Usually it's regulars. I usually wait till I get about 100 people here before we get going. But I always get excited when I get new people in because I can always tell when I get new people when they ask a question about tantrums or timeout. 3 new people. Excellent. I'm scheduling my lives now. I used to do them every day for a whole year. And then I've got to get strict with my schedule. I love doing lives. It's so relaxing for me. So I was avoiding things I didn't like doing and doing a live instead. So that's why I'm trying to get more disciplined and just do lives twice a week, Tuesday night and Saturday morning. It's in the bio above. Anyway, okay, so let's get going. We got enough. Oh, we haven't got very many people here, actually. What time is it? 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. Interesting. Not usually here at this time. So anyway, let's get going with your parenting questions. The link above, bratbusters.linktree. It's just in bullet form, everything that's on my website. So if you want to hire me for coaching, buy one of my courses, or download my free behavior board, which teaches you how to give respect to get it, because you're on there too. That's what makes it work. So that's all. The behavior board's completely free. So anyway, check that out after the live. And in the meantime, feel free to start asking questions. I film these on YouTube, but my audience is on TikTok. How many subscribers do I have on YouTube? I don't know. I don't know how many subscribers. Hello, Amara. I like the moon there. So parenting questions, I'm just waiting. I'll tell you something funny. I was talking to a client the other morning and I said, a little boy she's dealing with it. And I said, geez, he's smart. Like it's quite, he knows how to handle her. Anyway, so I was saying he's actually very bright. And she goes, I'm never sure if he's a genius or a psychopath. I said, let's go with genius. She was so cute. I got permission to say that. That was cute. How do I deal with a toddler who keeps hitting me? Okay, if they hit you during a tantrum, that we can't do anything about that. But if they just hit you to get attention or get their own way, not outside of a tantrum, it's consistent corrective actions. Toddlers do not learn through words. These mini therapy sessions that are so popular right now, discussing all their feelings, discussing what they should and shouldn't do, it's just garbage. They're all about consistent corrective actions because actions is their language. It's not words. They're toddlers, right? This is what under 3 is a toddler. Anyway, because they learn through repetition. They won't learn the first time. They might learn the 50th, maybe the 150th time, but they will eventually learn not to hit. I have a whole course on that. It's one of my mini niche courses if you're interested, toddlers who hit. I don't know what I called it. I can't remember. Okay. Yeah, I just answered that. The question, it's not about words, because you said doesn't talk yet. Yeah, because they're about actions. They're not about words. You enter their world when you're trying to discipline them. Also, when you're trying to bond with them, You got to figure them out. They're not about words. I actually have my top 5 toddler tips. I got to come up with a better name than that. Anyway, number 1 is childproof your whole house so you never have to say no. Number 2 is get a toy rotation system in place so they're never bored. Number 3 is you enter their world. You do that when you're disciplining them and also when you're bonding with them. You enter their world. You play like a toddler, and they just start to look at you differently. Once they know that you really get them and you're in their world more, they just pay attention more. I've seen it. I've seen it hundreds of times. I've worked with hundreds of kids. Okay. Stop trying to figure them out. They haven't formed yet. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They've got one marble and some tumbleweed floating around in there. They don't make any sense because they haven't developed the frontal lobe. They have no sense yet. They're crazy. They're just developing sanity. So don't expect them to be sane yet. They're crazy because they're forming. And the last one is stop talking and start taking action. So these mini therapy sessions, I know they're trendy. I get it. I'm up against that in my business every single day. We were trying to reason with our toddler. I'm like, where'd you hear that? I don't even ask anymore. But anyway, so yeah, this therapy session's just garbage. You know that. You know, if you're regular, you know how I feel about all that. Okay. How do you know if your child views you as a leader? If you have to ask, you don't. Like, you won't have to ask. You'll just know. It's one of those things. You'll just know. Sorry. I pulled a muscle at the gym today, and I'm having a hard time breathing. In the rib cage area. Jeez, stupid. There was a young girl working out beside me. I'm in my 60s now. A young girl working out beside me, and I had to outdo her. I did, but I was the one limping away. That's how immature I am. That's why I can always find my inner toddler, because I have a lot of immaturity in me. I'm only competitive at the gym with fitness. I don't know why. Nothing else. I could care less if I win at anything else but fitness. Isn't that weird? Anyway, a young girl. What the heck am I doing? I'm old. She was like 20, and I'm 62, and I had to compete with her. That's stupid. Oh, okay. I need to do the toe rotation. It's hard though. Yeah, just do it when they're in bed. Throw everything in boxes and then just take out a few choice things. If they really notice something's missing and mention it, say, okay, we'll get that tomorrow, but get them playing with something. The best way to do this is to buy them something new to redirect them. So something new, start it off with something new. You know, kids don't care if it's expensive. It might just be a box, right? If you, what did I used to do with my kids? I had a whole bunch of ideas. I used to put a tablecloth over the dining room table or over the coffee table, and that was a fort, and we'd set that all up as a fort. So start something new to redirect them or distract them from the fact that they haven't got all those toys around anymore. Oh, sorry, I pulled a muscle. Oh, geez, I moved the wrong way. That hurt. Oh. Okay, forgot what I was saying. Ideal structured day at home for a 3-year-old boy. I can't tell you that because everyone's so different. All my clients, I actually have a lot of clients who refer me to friends and family. So they compare notes, like what I'm telling them. And they say, you got a completely different Lisa from the one I have. Like, I tell everyone something different about their daily structure. But there are certain things that you want to structure. You want to structure morning routine, bedtime routine, and mealtime routine. Just structure those and work around them. So yeah, make sure you get those settled, but work on one at a time, okay? Don't try and do them all at once. One at a time, one routine at a time. Thank you for the gifter badge. I really appreciate that. In Canada, we don't make money on TikTok, but I know in other places they make money. I don't know why they don't do that here. Well, whatever. I'm not here to make money. I make money if you go and hire me or buy one of my courses, but this is all free. And most people on lives are regulars. So they've already hired me or whatever, but most people on lives are regulars. And I know that because you're already answering my questions for other people if I don't get to them. So I've got all these like helpers. Separation anxiety for a 2.5-year-old, it's just temporary. They'll get over it. Do the dump and run really quick. Say, and you end with when you're going to be back. They don't understand time, but just say, okay, I'll see you later, and then get out of there fast. Peel them off your leg, whatever. But yeah, if you're leaving them with someone, you obviously trust that person. And if you do, they've probably got experience to know how to handle separation anxiety. It's all distraction with little ones. Aw, we had first successful night putting our son to bed alone in probably 3 months due to your techniques. Thank you very much for sharing that. It just works. That's my bedtime stuff. It just works, doesn't it? The client who had the worst experience with that bedtime routine was someone who said all they did was get drunk and curse me out all night while they were putting this kid back to bed every single time. And that kid never got up again. That was the only night. They had one night from hell, and then that kid, and this was a much older kid, like 5, 6 years old. And the nighttime was just a nightmare with this kid. But anyway, yeah, it was one night of sheer hell. And the dad got so drunk he was banging off the walls, the wife had to take over. He thought it would be like one bottle of wine. I think he ended up going through 3. It's funny because they went till about 4 or 5 in the morning with this kid because he was older. Yeah, good tip, the toy rotation system. Yeah, I just always did that with my kids because plus I don't like playrooms. The reason is I want my kids around me. And because we didn't have very many toys out, there was never a mess, And when I said, okay, put your toys away, there was like 5 toys to put away. And I'm very organized. I'm not OCD, but some people think I am, but I'm actually not. But I'm very fussy and organized. So I had empty spaces on their bookshelves. I liked everything. I like bookshelves. I still do. I love them. Like that's not one, but the rest of my home, every room has bookshelves because I like to see things because I like to see things organized. I like everything organized. So the kids knew exactly where everything went. There was no confusion, no chaos, no mess, nothing overwhelming. So it just makes your life easier. I'm not a minimalist, but I would go more towards that side and make your life easier with your kids. Be more of a minimalist with toys. They're only going to play with one thing at a time anyway. You look at school, the way school is run. They never throw everything in the middle of the classroom and say, have at it, do they? They have like, okay, this activity, let's pack all this up and let's do the next activity. So, because kids get overwhelmed and they don't tend to play with anything because there's too much going on. And then they flip from one thing to the next. I love your knowledge and methodologies. Oh, thanks so much for that support. I've been doing this. I've been 51 years now, I would say. I've got a pretty good experience with kids because I started volunteering in daycare centers when I was 11, and I started babysitting at 11. I was just born old. I was born to mother, Now I'm 62. I actually am old, but I was old when I was 11 too. I was always the responsible one. I'm goofy like crazy, but I'm very responsible. What can I do so my toddler can eat more or get more of an appetite? I can't really answer that because I'm not a doctor. I don't discuss nutrition, but I'll tell you just a few little sort of words of wisdom maybe or experience is toddlers don't need to eat nearly as much as parents think they do. And they tend to be grazers. So my kids would graze on lightweight foods like fruit and but then mealtime, then they'd get the heavier foods. So, but they're more grazers. I'm more of a grazer too. I get that. But yeah, they don't tend to eat. But if you're really concerned, you just go by the weight. Are they growing? Then they're probably okay. Also, because they eat so little, it's really important that it's nutritious. Yeah, you don't want to give them. Someone made a comment the other day. I love organizing, and I often watch videos where people are obsessively organizing things. Oh, I forgot my mic for YouTube. Sorry about that. Anyway, and someone made the comment, she goes, I can't watch them anymore because they've got all these perfect fridges with all these containers, but all the food is packaged. Like it's all this, and it's not real food, it's just filler food. Like I just call it filler, but it's not even healthy. And all these kids have all these little snack packs and all that stuff. And yeah, that's not food, it's filler. So with toddlers, you don't want filler, you want food, like real food for your toddlers. So, and also they tend to eat healthier foods if they don't have sugar and salt. Because sugar and salt, it's addictive, so yeah, they tend to not like the plain stuff as much if they get sugar and salt. A friend of mine was also really into health with her kids, and she said she used to spoon feed this kid just an avocado, like I'll just eat an avocado and just with a spoon. And so she was feeding, and she goes, what did he have? He was just a baby or a toddler or something. And she goes, yeah, he had something at McDonald's or something. And she goes, avocados were never as tasty after that. He just didn't like them. So I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, once they get a taste of that salt and sugar, it's hard to get them into healthy food as much. Oh, 3-year-old is always shouting. Well, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know. Is she shouting in anger or just happy? I don't know. Oh, if she says she loves you and doesn't, you're being manipulated there. You know that. She's manipulating you. She's just throwing stuff out there and you're reacting. Don't be as reactive, be proactive. Like, you be a leader. Just like if a kid was screaming around me and trying to get attention, I doubt very much I'd even look their way. They just learn to do what works. So yeah, she's been trained to do that. She knows what she's doing. Yeah, just start ignoring the crazy and reward the calm. So as soon as she talks nicely, then you say, "Oh, do you want to read a book or something?" They learn. They learn. How do I handle 2-year-old asking for ice cream nonstop after I've said no once? Well, why are you like? Just ignore it. I wouldn't give that any attention at all. How much do your lessons normally cost? I don't have lessons. I have courses, and then I have coaching. And my coaching is one-on-one on Zoom. So we just talk for an hour per week usually. That's how that's done. And that's all in the link above. You can check that out. Good morning, Maria. I was going to say Maria, or I don't know why. How to get rid of the pacifier. I did that with my son at 18 months old. We did a big trip from Australia. We lived in Australia. So we did a big trip to Canada, and there's no way I was going to take that dummy away from him till we got home. Like, imagine on a flight. Anyway, so he was 1.5, and when we got home, I had jet lag, and I had really bad jet lag that time. I don't know why. So anyway, I had really bad jet lag, and as did he, my little boy. But he had the dummy in, and I thought, I'm just going to do it. I think it was the day we got back. And I took the dummies away, and he helped me. We put them in a little Ziploc bag, and he held them. I walked them up, carried them out to the garage, and he dropped them in the big wheelie bin. Now, he knew when they went in there, he knew Mom was never going to take them out. If Dad was around, it might have been different. He knew Dad was the one who could have got away with stuff more. There's usually one leader and one who, it's a little bit easier to get away with stuff. But anyway, he never asked for one once. I was stunned. Every so often, and he had tantrums. They either do or they don't. He had tantrums. I thought, I've got jet lag, and I'm going to have one hell of a day with this kid. Anyway, he not once cried or asked for them. I have no idea what happened there. Every so often, he'd go like that, and then he'd look at me, and I'd look away like really fast. I didn't get eye contact. If he was thinking about dummies and we got eye contact, he might have cried. And now I'm not saying that'll work. I just think that was a fluke. Because that wasn't like him. Normally, he loved his dummies, and I was just shocked at that. If I miss questions, it's because I get dizzy when I have to scroll backwards because they go through, right? Oh, sorry. I pulled a muscle at the gym, and I'm having a hard time breathing. I asked you if there is a meaning for your child telling you they love you a lot. What do you mean by that? I don't know what you mean by that. And how old? Are they 2, 12? 6-year-old regressing using the toilet? That happens. He has ADHD and he says he forgets. Any advice on how? Yeah, you got to get a system in place. I can't really help you with that on TikTok because I don't know your lifestyle. What's going on at school, what goes on at home. But we usually get systems and we interfere. Like, what I mean is, hey, look, you're going to be playing with on the video game. You have to go pee before you do that. Like, you sort of interrupt him. And so you're sort of holding the carrot on the end of the stick and say, as soon as you go pee, you can play video games. Sure, you can have lunch. As soon as you go pee, you can have lunch. Like that. You remind him. So you interrupt. Use it as a little bit of leverage. Sure, you can have this, but I don't know we set up a system. Like if it's coaching, we set up systems for that. But yeah, it's just sort of how it goes. But I don't know exactly how to work that with you. How to help a 3-year-old that's just stopped participating in class time? I don't know. I'd have to ask too many questions. I'd have to assess why. They were participating, now they're not. I would need to assess why. So that's a coaching issue. If you want to hire me, I'd have to figure that one out. Okay, you're going to hate my answer. My 2-year-old son hits his head when he's angry. Yeah, they're going to do that. Just restrain them when they do. How can I help him express himself verbally? You cannot. You're expecting a 2-year-old to express themselves verbally. It doesn't work. They may parrot what you say, but their language is physical actions. It's all actions for them. So yeah, you're expecting him to find his inner adult. Don't do that. He's 2. I got 5 tips here. Toddler tips, 5 tips for raising toddlers. 1, child-proof your house so you never have to say no. 2, have a toy rotation system so they're never bored. 3, enter their world. You enter their world to connect with them. You don't expect him to enter your verbal world. See what I'm saying? Enter his world. And then stop trying to figure them out. They haven't formed yet. They're just brand new, fresh human beings. And then stop talking and start taking action. All these therapy sessions, trying to talk to them, all their feelings, it's garbage. I know it's trendy right now, but it's garbage. It will have to go away because it doesn't make any sense. Because I get all the damage in coaching from that. You know, we were doing all this. And yeah, I know. That's why you're where you're at. It doesn't work. Okay, how to teach your 1-year-old no when throwing food on the floor. It's not the first time that they're going to learn. But what I did with my kids and other kids I've worked with, if they throw food, I pick it up, throw it in the garbage, and then I hand feed them. Literally, do not let them touch a spoon or anything. I hand feed them after that. I pick up the food, I say no, and then they get hand fed. You got to be fast with that, though. They're not going to connect it until you say no, and then you hand feed them. And do not let them touch anything that whole meal. At 1-year-old, I probably still would. They're still babies. But if they were older, I wouldn't. But a baby, yeah, you hand feed, and then you watch them like a hawk. As soon as they go to throw, you grab it, say no, and then you hand feed. That's the consequence. That's the discipline, is they don't get to touch their food. You hand feed them. Is it going to be an ugly meal? Yeah, probably. That's okay. They'll survive. You may not, but they'll survive. Any advice with autistic kiddos? There's no general advice for that because they're all so individual and it's a specialty. I only deal with autism in coaching. It's like crisis work, teenage stuff, all that kind of specialized stuff. That's one-on-one coaching if you want to hire me. And it's not one session, especially with autism, because we throw mud at the wall in the next session, we see what's stuck because they're all different. Different things are going to work, especially with autism. You know, I've got a lot of experience with them, but I'm always learning because sometimes they'll just come up with something new. Well, he only listens or does this, you know, so they're all different. I don't know where on the spectrum he is either. Any advice? Oh, advice for extreme picky eater that's lasted for over a year. He's 2 now. Yeah. The thing is, if you're mixing in what I call filler, not food, like junk food, he's not going to eat the healthy stuff. My son in particular was very picky, but I didn't have any junk food in the house. He didn't know any different. This was his choice. You can have this healthy food or that healthy food. So yeah, and I cooked around his preferences, but then every so often I'd make him try something new. Plus I snuck a lot of stuff into, because I made everything from scratch. I could sneak spinach and flaxseed and all that kind of stuff into pretty much anything. So they were eating really healthy. And it was funny because as they got older, my son in particular came home from some birthday party. When they're at a birthday party, have at it, eat whatever you want. I don't care. Because we're living in the real world here, but at home, you're eating healthy. Anyway, he came home from a birthday party once or someone's house, and he goes, their pizza was weird. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, the sauce was red, because at home it's brown, because I mashed spinach into it. I puree spinach into my pizza sauce. Yeah, theirs was weird. Imagine it being red, eh? So yeah, they caught on to that after a while. So yeah, eliminate sugar and salt and junk food and all that filler crap. Anything packaged is generally crap. So yeah, eliminate all that. And then you'll see that who cares if they're picky? They're only picking healthy food. So my kids, when they go to birthday parties, they'd always come home with a stomach ache because they'd eaten all that crap they don't get at home. So I never said anything. My daughter's a holistic nutritionist, and she's like me. We're super fussy with like healthy food. My son, not so much. But anyway, and that's a personal choice. I'm not saying you have to do that, but whenever people ask me about picky eaters, that's my advice. If you're mixing healthy food with junk, why on earth would they want healthy food? You know, when they're little, doesn't make sense. Do you treat boys and girls differently? No, not really. I don't. I would say of the two, my kids, my daughter was definitely the easiest. My son had tantrums when he was little and was always more inclined to be moody, whereas my daughter had none of that. And but they were both easy because I got respect when they were tiny. But I've always heard girls are harder to raise through the teen years, and I didn't find that at all. So they're all different. And I have not seen any consistencies. Like what I mean is that I'll get a family and it's like the boy is the trouble. Then I'll get another one. The girl is it. I always say which kid is the target. There's usually one that's a target. And it's just, I would say it's evened out over, I've been doing this for 17 years. I would say it's pretty much evened out, girls and boys. But there are some things that are a bit different with boys and girls. When I'm hired for teenage problems, girls are anywhere between like 13 and 12 and 13 and 16. I'm hired in that age range. With boys, it's almost always just turned 15. It's really, it's huge portion of teenage boys that I'm hired to work with. I don't work with the kids, I work with the parents, is just turned 15 or almost 15. Usually just turned. Isn't that weird? That's when the testosterone, I'm assuming, really kicks in. I don't know. I don't really analyze it. I just work with it. Oh, yeah, but you didn't put the age about the mummy, I love you. I don't know how old she is. It makes a difference. Is she 18 or I don't know. Oh, then you answered below. Okay, I have to go. It's hard for me to go back and forth because I get dizzy. She's 8 years old. I don't know. Is she trying to get something out of you or is she just saying she loves you? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Maybe she's trying to get an I love you. I don't know. I don't know. Could mean everything, could mean nothing. I don't know the context around it. Like what's going on when she says that? What advice do you give? Very knife. What's knife? Is that rude? Am I saying something rude? Sometimes people will throw stuff in because I'm old. I don't know what all this trendy stuff is. I said something really embarrassing on a live once. Naive. Oh, naive. Oh, never. I didn't know that was a. Oh, interesting. Very naive. 15, very naive. I don't know. I don't know why that 15-year-old would be naive. Does this kid have a phone? It's very hard to be naive when you got a phone. And I talk to my kids about everything, and I mean everything. At 15, there was nothing that wasn't discussed. So that's on you. You got to talk to them about everything. By the way, you'd be amazed. I can't go into all this stuff, but I specialize in teenagers. You'd be amazed what they don't know. You'd be amazed. If they're learning all about, I can't talk about it, but if they're learning about certain things online, you'd be amazed because there's certain things are not, they don't get the whole picture. It's very different from reality. So you'd be amazed what they don't know. I'm always very aware of what they don't know. That's why I make sure I tell the parents to cover everything. What do you do when you don't like being a parent no more? Okay, Diamond. So you hate being a parent right now. That's not unheard of. So I don't know how old your kids are. If you're going through something rough, I would say start connecting with your kids. Find something that you can enjoy with them, doing with them. Just try and find a way to find joy in your children. I used to mentor troubled teens. Do you think that they were easy to be around? I had to find a way to connect with them, and that's how I worked it. That's how I did it. Was I connected. I never told them what to do. I never told my kids what to do. You connect and then they come to you for advice and they want to please you, or at the very least, they don't want to disappoint you because they look up to you. Once they look up to you and they trust you 100%, they're just a joy to be with. So yeah, find something to connect with. Oh, it's maybe a huge problem, but it's not an uncommon one. You got a 1 and 3-year-old and the 3-year-old tantrums when you hold the 1-year-old. You might want to hire me for that. The reason is I don't know what your home is. Are you a working mom, stay-at-home mom? Are you a dad? What's going on? What's your personality like? How do you parent? That's a management. That is physical management, and it is tricky. It's not something I can answer easily on here. You'd have to hire me for that. So yeah, because I always say one of the most challenging things in my business, I specialize in teen crisis stuff. And that's not as hard as when I'm coaching a mom with a toddler and a baby. That is the most challenging thing in my business. because I can't get you the results you want. A lot of it is just wait it out, and it's physically draining. You got two little kids, with maybe sawdust up there right now. So how on earth are you going to manage that? There are a few tricks along the way, but I don't know how your house is set up, and what your experience is, what kind of you know. So yeah, that is, I would say, probably one of the most challenging situations I deal with. Isn't that weird? It's not the teen crisis work. That I understand. How on earth you get a baby and a toddler and a calm household? It's impossible. So love your stuff. Thanks so much for the support. Always appreciate that. And by the way, I'm doing these twice a week now because I love doing lives. Do you know what I was doing? I'll admit this to you because we're friends here, right? Is I was avoiding things I didn't want to do and doing lives because I love doing lives so much. I find this relaxing. So I was avoiding work I should have been doing just to do lives. So I've had to reassess my time management skills. So now I'm doing these lives twice a week, Saturday morning at 10 and Tuesday night at 7. It's in my bio. So I've just had to limit myself. I sometimes, if I'm having a really rough day at work and a whole bunch of admin stuff I don't like. So if it's something I just don't want to do and it's like it's a problem and admin, I'll just do a live. I've sometimes done 3 lives a day. Just I've used it as a form of procrastination. So yeah. Nancy, sit and play with some toys of your own, watch them come to you. Yeah, very good. I like that. This toddler terrifies me. They are frightening. They're my least favorite age, toddlers. Cute as a button. They're all feet, no brains. They're a safety issue. It's just constant watching them. Everywhere you go, you have to watch them. They're just all feet, no brains. And but cute as a button. It's my least favorite age. Yeah, because they're so physically demanding. And yeah. Is there a difference between a meltdown and a tantrum? When I first came on here, I used to get a lot of people trying to bully me, and bully proof. Anyway, and I said, oh, meltdown, tantrum, scene, fit, whatever. And then they said they're all completely different. And they actually wrote out what they all were. Are you freaking kidding me? I don't think that person would watch me anymore because I actually read the comment out loud and I said, are you freaking kidding me? Does it matter? They're all the same. It's when they lose their nut. When they go into the crazy zone, there's no thought process involved in a tantrum. It is just they've lost it. They've just lost it. They're gone. It's like when you see red, it's like that. They're just gone. Mentally, there's no reasoning. Don't talk to them. Don't look at them. They're just gone. They're not even there anymore when they're having one. 14-month-old cries for everything. I don't know what you mean by the cried out method in that situation. I don't know what you mean by that. If they're 14 months old, I still consider them babies till they're 16 months old. If they're crying for everything, I would never give them something if they cried for it. They just wouldn't get it. But I would play with something really nearby. I would play with something else right nearby. And like Nancy said, then they'll come to you. So I wouldn't give them what they were crying for, but I would do something. But it depends on what's going on. I don't know the context around that. But yeah, I don't just let a 14-month-old just sit and cry. But I'd let them have a tantrum. Why does my 5-year-old hiccup anytime he? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. How to teach patience to a toddler? That's absolutely undoable. You can't do that. How do you teach patience to an adult? You don't. Like they eventually learn by you. They will follow your lead, so they will learn. If you never run around getting them everything they ask for, they will learn patience. Like I've babysat lots of kids who, were just really difficult, and they just screamed for everything. And I made sure they never got nothing when they screamed, and then I'd give it to them in my sweet time. So they learn. They just learn. But it's your lead. You lead, they will follow. So they'll learn it through your calm leadership. Ways to help children process feelings. Oh, okay. I'm going to go on a rant now, don't you? It happens organically. When you're a leader, you cannot help them. You cannot go into someone's brain, open up their skull, tweak it, and help. It's impossible. When you're a leader, it makes them feel safe. You're predictable. You're fun. You're loving, and their feelings just naturally resolve themselves, or they naturally. It's an organic process. You don't have many therapy sessions with little kids. You just don't. I know it's trendy right now, but it's absolute garbage. These discussions, many therapy sessions discussing all the feelings and all that stuff. It was invented for the moms to feel good about themselves. It was invented about 30 years ago, and it was to make moms feel good about themselves. It has nothing to do with the child. It's all about the mom. That's where that method comes from. And that's why it's so popular, because it makes the moms feel good. It's not for the kids, though. It's putting the mom before the kid. But yeah, it happens organically. If you're a calm leader, you're fun, you're loving, their feelings are just, they tend to be calmer. They express their feelings better as they get older, because it's all calm. So you're not avoiding their feelings at all. But you don't have the many therapy sessions. It's all Jesus, freaking annoy the heck out of me. Because I have to undo all that garbage whenever I get clients. If they've been doing that, we have to fix all that stuff. So all the feelings talks aren't age appropriate. With toddlers, this is what it usually is all about. People who teach this pleaser parent style, where you're rolling out the red carpet, discussing all their feelings, trying to make life easy for them, participation awards, crap. Anyway, you're raising self-entitled snowflakes with mental health issues. Where's the resilience? You're not allowing their brain to process their own feelings. It's a process. If you're always interrupting, then they expect every single thought and feeling and fart and burp to be validated by everyone around them. You're not validating my feelings. I see it all the time. All the time. You didn't validate my feelings. Well, I'm just the bus driver lady. Like, that's what you're doing. So yeah, it's just, and I know it's trendy. I get it. It's for the mom. It's not for the kid. It's for the mom. Feelings are for therapists. Yes and no. Here's the thing: is when they can verbalize. My kids told me every thought and feeling they ever had, and then I'd say, "Well, what are we going to do about it? What do you want to do?" So you're not ignoring feelings at all. You're meeting their needs and managing their wants. Yeah. Trying to think of some good examples for this, but it's just, I've been fighting this for so many years now, fighting against this for so many years now. I haven't come up with any really good story that I can remember or anything to really explain this. The best thing I can say, I think, I used to mentor troubled teens. And one of them said to me once, you made me like myself. Now, think of all the feelings wrapped up in that. I didn't say, how you feeling today, all this crap. I just bonded with that kid. Made him feel good about himself because we connected, had fun, and he liked himself. Isn't that all the feeling that you need? They love themselves. They like you. Isn't that kind of, it's organic. If they had a problem, they'd say, Lisa, what do you think I should do? I don't know. What do you think you should do? Let's figure it out. I never told them what to do. I want them to be strong. I didn't want them relying on me. Yeah, I'm a leader, but I didn't want them coming to me with everything. I want them to be self-reliant and figure stuff out on their own. They could come talk to me about anything, but I never told them what to do. My mom was like that. Used to actually get on my nerves. I'd say, Mom, can't you once tell me what to do? And she goes, you're a smart girl. You can figure it out. We talked about everything. So, but yeah, she never told me what to do. And I was the same with my kids. You want to raise self-reliant, confident kids who like themselves. I perhaps spoiled my son. No, he doesn't listen. Yeah, you can fix that. So just keep working on it. There's no point going back. I get this all the time with clients. Oh, I just feel so bad about what I did yesterday. And I just say, forget it. Like, that's like saying, that's like going to Weight Watchers and crying over all the weight you gained. Yeah, get it out of your system, but now let's lose the weight. Let's move forward. You always want to move forward. You always want to be the best you can be, but you can't if you're worried about the worst you were. We've all had the worst of us, I mean, and I've got lots of departments in my life where I know I got to work on. But yeah, parenting always came easy, but lots of stuff didn't. But yeah, don't worry about what you did yesterday. You did the best you knew how. So just move forward. If you're watching now, and I had a client this week who said, oh, sometimes I just feel like such a bad parent. And I said, you know what? I have never been hired by a bad parent. What bad parent would hire a parenting coach? Does that make any sense at all? So yeah, she kind of felt better. And I said, don't even go there. You're wasting your money with me if you're going to wallow in guilt, because guilt just gets in the way. So let's move forward. And once you start getting results, the guilt disappears anyway. So, okay. Could a 14-year-old boy behavioral issues be genetics at all, or is it all my parenting? It's almost always parenting, almost always. Because I work with kids who have really bad genes, and they can still learn to like themselves and respect themselves and you. With parenting and when I was working with kids, it was never about me. I never cared what they thought of me. It sounds kind of silly because I always talk about leadership, but my goal was always what they thought of themselves. I wanted them to like themselves, and if I was the source of that, so be it. But yeah, then when you're the source of that, when they're around you, they like themselves, they feel good about themselves when they're with you. You've got them in the palm of your hand, and you got to be careful with that too, because you got a lot of control. So you've got to really respect that. How do you teach them to like themselves? Whew, that's a big question. That's the whole basis of everything I teach. Discipline is really a tiny part of what I do. In coaching, I'll actually have clients where we don't even discuss discipline. We just talk about how to connect with your kids and how to get them to like themselves. That comes up a lot. A lot of sessions are just spent on that and not discipline at all. Discipline is a very tiny part of it. It's really about connecting, making them feel heard, wanted, enjoyed. Everyone loves their kids and wants them, but do you really enjoy them? When you find the joy in spending time with your kids, look at their faces when you're playing with them. Like, I tell stories all the time about my kids and I, stuff we used to do. It was just pure joy. Like when they're wallowed in like that and you're just having a blast with them, they were the most fun I ever had. I miss it. I miss parenting. It was the most fun I ever had, just laughing all the time. I remember parents used to say at school, whenever they'd see, I had a little blue RAV4, whenever they'd see us drive past, this is all they saw. Because we'd all be laughing. Just had a blast. That discipline, get it out of the way, get it done. Get the respect cemented, and then just bond with them. They will tell you everything when they're teenagers. And that's what you want, because you're a safe place to land. They trust you, 100%. They trust you. That's what this is all about. How do you connect enough and reward the calm when there's so much housework? Yeah, that's coaching. We'd have to figure out systems. Sometimes I've worked with parents who, a lot of them are very successful, have big companies and running businesses. So we'll literally pick 5 minutes a day. I say we put it on the board, 5 minutes a day that they have to play hide and seek with their kids. Everyone should be able to find 5 minutes a day with their kids. But I always say stretch it out to 10. Write down 5, but then stretch it out, because they go, oh, wow, you were having so much fun, you doubled it. So 10 minutes a day, is that a hard thing to do? It doesn't take a lot to connect. Next thing you know, they're following you around the house while you're doing housework, and they're talking to you because you've had that 10 minutes of connecting. See, it's a whole other level. Is there always one leader? Yeah, usually. Yeah, almost always. There's just one leader. I was it. My mom was it. My ex-husband was the pleaser. My dad was the pleaser. It's kind of nice when you have that balance. That what makes it work is when the pleaser always defaults to the leader. Like my ex-husband, if the kids had ever been the least bit disrespectful toward him, he would have said, do you want me to tell mom? And they would have gone, never mind. And with my dad, if I'd said, Daddy, can I have that? And he goes, well, sure, I'll ask mom. And I go, never mind. So yes, you're on the same page. There's usually almost always one leader, just one. But so long as you're on the same page, it works beautifully. Why does my 15-month-old rather be with her grandma instead of mom? Well, oh, you're jealous of that? Yeah, they just do that. There's no reason behind it. It's just they're just babies. Well, 15-month-old starting to bite. How do I prevent it? I like the way you worded that because you don't prevent it. You stop it when it's happening before it happens. So the first time you say no, the 15 months old still kind of a baby, you say no, and then there's consistent corrective action. So you remove a toy, remove them, remove the fun, whatever, every single time. You don't prevent it though. Don't talk about it. Just you watch them like a hawk. The next time they go to bite, you say no, and then consistent corrective action every single time. Pick one battle per week. It's going to take a whole week. That's why the behavior board, you only do one behavior board per week, and there's only 3 of them. You can only juggle 3. If you're still struggling with discipline and getting respect after 3 behavior boards, and you want more of them, you don't do that. You get those 3 behavior boards working. I don't care what the kids are doing. It's you. Make them work. Follow through. And then the week 4, in my course, there's a course up there if you're interested. In week 4, we kind of go off the behavior boards and you just do in the moment. Because I never used a behavior board. It's just teaching you how to do all this. Well, I'm going to comment on this one. I discipline more and the dad is all the fun. I was the leader. I was also the fun, goofy one. Their dad was great. I was definitely the goofball. So the leader is not necessarily the serious one. The leader is often the goofy, fun one. So yeah, their dad was a great dad, but I was definitely the goofy one. So totally. I was the one laying under the bed, grabbing their ankles when they walked by. That was all me. He would never have done something like that. That was my style. So yeah, discipline doesn't equal serious. When you're disciplining, it's serious, but because when you're a good leader, they never do anything wrong anyway. So I never had to discipline. Oops, sorry. Tripod just acted up there. Okay. 14-year-old snuck out of the house at 3 a.m., bought a vape pen, and got fired from his job all in 1 week. Yeah, that happens. 14. I said the most common age for parents to hire me when they have teenage boys is just turned 15. So you're right on track with all that. If you want to hire me, that's a coaching thing. That's 5 sessions. If you've got that going on, that's at least 5 sessions. Because think you had 14 years to get where you are. You've been building up to it. It didn't just happen. You've been investing in this. This has happened because of what you've done in the past. We got to fix all that. So it's a process. It's doable. It's hard work. It's very hard work, but it's worth it, right? He's only 14. I'm often hired by people with 17, 18-year-olds. That's a lot harder. Oh, step parents. I can't talk about that because I don't know your situation. So, and I actually don't give step parent advice. I don't give grandparent advice, aunt and uncle advice, teacher advice. I'm a parenting expert, a parenting coach. So I only teach parent-child relationships. And I don't know your power over that child. Like, you're a step parent, so you haven't adopted them. Is there another parent? You know what I mean? There's a lot going on. That's coaching. I have to figure out what's going on. I have to assess the whole situation. And then I could tell you how to move forward with the parents. Okay. The biological parent has to be there too. 15-month-old gets fuzzy in high chair and will only walk around eating. Oh, only eats while walking around. That's on you. Like, why on earth would a 15-month-old have food in their hands when they're walking around? My kids, they had no concept of food outside of the high chair. So you've allowed that. You've taught them that. Yeah, my kids would never have even thought about that. It was interesting. We visited Canada when my kids were 3 and 8 years old. This is really funny. And they had no family around like that we lived near in Australia. So it was just the 4 of us, right? So they were 3 and 8 years old. And we went to Canada and there was potato chips and stuff to eat on the coffee tables. They didn't touch any of it. And I didn't think anything of it. And one of my aunts said, "How come your kids aren't eating?" And I said, "Oh, because they're not sitting at a table." Like they just knew not to pick up food. So I said, "Well, you can pick up food." And they put it on a little plate and then they took it over to the table and sat down. They were 3 and 8 years old. I had them trained well. They didn't associate food with anything other than sitting at a table eating politely. That was all they knew. So that was funny. But yeah, you can't let them do something and then expect them not to want to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, if she cries in her high chair, you're just going to have to try and feed her. And then if she starts crying, you look away for a second. She's only 15 months old. She's still kind of a baby. So look away. And then when she stops crying or whatever, you offer the food, but you're sort of not really there. Like, what I mean is you're just kind of looking away because she's looking at you for a reaction. So you're just making it very clear you can eat in the high chair. If it's not going well, just put her down, but don't let her have any food. Once you've trained them to do something you don't like, it's very hard to untrain them. You've made that work for yourself now. So, but it's undoable. She's only a baby. It's undoable. And what parents will say, yeah, but they're allowed to have an apple. But no, it's got to be everything. This is the thing. They'll say, well, they only can have such and such when they're walking around. No, it's inconsistent. It's got to be everything. My kids knew that they could only drink and chew when they were sitting in a high chair. Like, they had no concept of that outside of a high chair. But yeah, it's like grocery shopping with a toddler. Once you let them out, good luck getting them back in that cart. My kids, I think they were 16 years old before they ever got out of that shopping cart seat. Like, they just never had any concept of walking in a supermarket. They had no concept of it till they were old enough to be responsible. So yeah, once you've let that horse out of the gate, horse out of the barn, it's hard to get them back in. So just try and avoid that. But if you've done it, it's work, but you can do it. You're worried that she won't get her nutrition. Usually just be a rough day or two. Yeah, she's in control. If you're letting her be in that much control now at 15 months old, you don't want to go. You don't want to continue that. Because what you're going to say is, well, I have to let her have sex with her boyfriend while they're smoking pot in my basement, because otherwise she might get upset with me. Like, that's where you're headed. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, you got to be a leader here. I get this sometimes. Usually when people hire me now, they've been watching me for so long. And whereas before I was just on TV more, that's how I got most of my clients, was just doing a lot of TV spots. But now people have watched me, but every so often I'll get this comment. Well, I don't want to discipline him because they might not like me. I'm like, I go up one side of the parent and down the other. Who gives a crap if they like you? You do you do what you got to do as a parent, and it's not about popularity. They're going to love you anyway. I could have cared less if my kids liked me. That's why they never once ever said, I hate you, I don't like you, you don't like me. They never talked like that because they knew I didn't give a crap. Like, I'm your mother, I'm doing the right thing. You're my job. My number one job is to raise nice people. That's my number one job. Happy, nice people. That's it. And I said, I know I was successful because neither one of them ended up in jail. So that's what I mean. Like, they were good kids, but that's your job. And you worry too much about what they think about you. In other words, they've got you by the knackers. They're totally in charge. It's a very manipulative way of parent, like they're manipulating you. So yeah, if you worry about what they think about you, you're in big trouble. Big trouble. Don't worry about it. I could care less. Like, when I was babysitting kids, sometimes they would say something like this: you're mean. Like, and I'd go, whatever. Like, my kids would laugh. You're mean. Because I guess their parents would say, no, I'm not. You like me. Like, I'm just whatever. So, and then they would learn very quickly, oh, wait a minute. Maybe I shouldn't talk like that with her. And then they learn to be nice to you. Anyway, I got to go. I just got a message. I got to go. Anyway, I'm back every Saturday at 10 and Tuesday night at 7. So for now, anyway, because I love doing lives. I find it's one of the most relaxing things I do, is these lives. So, but I was using them to procrastinate with the admin work that I didn't want to do. So I'm trying to get more self-discipline. You see, self-discipline, it's an issue. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. Go on the link above. You can hire me, buy one of my courses, or download my free behavior board. You're on that too. That's what makes it work. Have a great day. We'll talk on Tuesday. Bye now.